Hello. So what we're going to do now is discuss value scales. Now value pertains to the lightness and darkness of something, and the scale will pertain to a mechanism that shows you incrementally one value adjacent to another value, either increasing or decreasing in value. In this case, in darkness. So this is a good tool to use for a couple of reasons. One is to get your hands to do what you want them to do while manipulating your art material, and the other thing is to get familiar with how dark you can get something and how light you can get something, and also to control being able to make the gradient from light to dark. Now, if you look at my assignment sheet, it's pretty generic. It says like you make 10 1-inch by 2-inch squares, and then you go from there. Well, I'm going to do this one a little bit differently. Like, so you can kind of take what that instruction sheet says, and if you make it exactly as the instruction sheet says, you'll get points for that. And if you do a really good job, you get 100%. And so, as an instructor, I got to have something typed out. I have to have like a lot of instructions so that it's not just like up in the air all willy-nilly. But like every time I write something, it's always half as interesting as I want it to be. So I'm going to make these demos probably more interesting than the assignment sheet. But if you have to, stick to the contract, just do what I have on the assignment sheet, and you'll be all happy. And I'll be good with it. But this will be more interesting if you follow this program, what I'm going to show you. And you should make more than one value scale, I think. Well, what I have here is I had a 18 by 24 inch piece of charcoal paper. I folded it in half like I did for the other thing, and I cut it. And so I have this half sheet. And what I did was I just divided it up into 1-inch squares, horizontally and vertically. Just make the lines, and I'm not going to count how many squares we have there, but you could do this with almost any size paper. I recommend it's charcoal paper. Okay, so what I decided to do was, with this paper, I have my 1-inch squares, and it's advantageous to have an entire sheet of paper like this, and it being more than what you need, you'll be able to do several takes, and that's important. Now what I want to do is I can show you different ways of doing this. So this is one way, and what you're going to do is probably I'm going to probably ignore that end of it, and I can just slightly think like, okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you could also do that right here on this. Like that. And then I got some left over. So let's consider the options here. Let's do this one with graphite, just for the sake of argument, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to cut corners. I'm going to take, like, say, several of these pencils that we have, and the lighter ones will be on the left and the darker ones will be on the right. Now I don't tell students to get like a 4H, a 3H, a 2H, a 1H, 2H, an H, an HB, a 2B, a 3B, 4B. I don't tell people to do that. I just say take what you got. Like over here, you could use, like for here and here, you could use, like say the Well, like maybe right here and right here you can use like the 5B, and then here you can use, or actually here, I'm sorry, the 4B, and then the 2B, the HB, and the H, you know, and 2H. You know what I mean? You can just do stuff like that. You can kind of like go with it. So I just did this, and you know, you could always just, you know, erase as you go. Some people will like take this and make all these borders. Like I recommend whenever you use a ruler and you make, you know, grids like this, you know, first use pencil, and then when your concern is over, you got everything done and you don't have to worry about any mistakes, then you can hit it with your like micron pen, and so you have like nice black lines. We won't do that for this particular lesson. You don't have to do that. So I'm going to play around with this, and I'm going to do, like I already did the H, and I hit this 1 or 10. You can say it's a 1, a 10%, and over here you can say that's a 10 or 100%. So to the left it's going to be black, and to the left it's going to be white, and to the right it's going to be black. So now I just go like this, and this is important. Like I'm gonna hit the I might have got it too dark. So you know, you always want to hit it light first, and then go dark. So I recommend something like this, like that, and then I can go down like this. Peck at it with your kneaded eraser. So that's what we're doing. We're getting from light to dark, light to dark. So of course I apologize for the amateur filming. It's all at a diagonal. You can see how everything's at an angle, but really it's vertical, a series of vertical and horizontal lines. And you'll see the completed project when it's done. So with this thing, I'm going to make several value scales. And then what's really cool about this is then I can go in with an X-Acto knife or a utility knife, just start cutting these. Or if you have like one of those paper cutters, you know, the guillotine type, like in the classroom, you just cut it that way. I just use like X-Acto knives and some kind of a cutting surface. Like you can cut with an X-Acto knife this kind of paper with a hard edge ruler, preferably made of metal. And you just, you know, cut on here. You don't want to use, or a cardboard. You could use the back side of your drawing pad. It's cardboard drawing pad, right? You can use that. You just don't want to cut on your Formica table or something like that. So here, so let's see what we got here. So I did these with an H pencil. Now I'm going to come over here with an HB, and I think we got it. So like, yeah, I put the number in there and I realized that wasn't a good idea. I mean, these are the kind of things you'll see with my videos. Like, oh, well, no, I shouldn't have done that. So, I mean, because we're all human. We all make mistakes. And I don't mind showing you my mistakes. I'll let you know. So here we go. I might even have made that too dark. We'll see. Now, if you're not comfortable with doing this freestyle like I am, try to find yourself an existing value scale. If you Google value scale, you will see a whole bunch of them. You just kind of look at that and just kind of use that for a cue. I can show you this here. You know, this is a ruler for graphic designers, and it has other things in here, like for instance the value scale, centimeters and inches, and then you have like your letter font sizes. See that? So and it kind of shows you like the value scale. You can kind of match it up here. That's white, and then this is 10%, 20, 30, and then 40. I think I got it right. See that? That kind of a thing. And sure, like I'm not using the tortillon to blend this. I'm gonna be like my professor and say I'm not gonna blend. I'm just gonna use my steady hand and just kind of shade it like this. And I'm using the hatching. It's just all hatching pretty much. And there's some imperfections, a little peck there, a little chunk there. But like, don't worry about that. You know, if you can, you might be able to, you know, get rid of that. Like this. You know, you can get rid of that like this, or you can come over here and you can kind of go like this. Is the camera on? Let's see if the camera is even on. Yep, it's on. We are rolling. We have a program. We got a show. All right. All right, so there we go. It's not perfect. I mean, look, that's a little bit darker than this. And it's like, well, I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to move on to the next one. And so, because I can always go back. So this is how we're doing it. Notice I'm holding the pencil at an angle. I'm not having the point contacting the paper at a 90-degree angle. Like what angle do you have? Well, I don't know, 30-degree angle? I don't know, something like that. 20-degree angle for even better measures, you know? Maybe like that. See that? And so, like, I could almost tell you that, you know, I'll just confess with you, like, half the time I always make a mistake with my value scales. It's like, it's too dark, it's too light. So, well, anyways, here I got it at 50%. And 50% is like the preferable, like, tone to have your paper if you're going to do, like, one of my charcoal drawings. You know, you charge it up with the vine charcoal at 50%, and then you can use the eraser to pull things out, what's called subtraction. You start shading, you know, all that stuff. We're going to do a lot of drawing like that. Like, one of these things we're going to do is we're going to draw like a real fruit of some sort. And I'm going to show you how to use this technique to do that. The charcoal technique, you know, with the vine charcoal and the kneaded eraser, and then you build up with the compressed charcoal, all that fun stuff, like what we're doing with the primitives. Anyways, so let's move on here. And I've noticed that some art teachers are making their students do like cross-hatching, hatching, scribbling, stippling. And my God, I feel like a lightweight comparison to these guys. I'm too easy on you guys. Well, make a couple of different value scales. I'm just showing you how to go from light to dark. You know, I'm just guiding you. You know, you can do the rest yourself. But whatever it says on the assignment sheet, just do that for like minimal requirements, you know. I think you're just supposed to make one value scale using charcoal. I think that's what's going on. But I don't know, I was just kind of getting bored with that, so I wanted to do something more interesting. And so, you know, we're doing this. And I might even make some mistakes, you know, so we got like that. So that's 60 or 60%, 70%. So I'm gonna reach for my darker pencil. So the first 3 squares were done in H, and then the next 3 were with the HB. So now I got a 2B. I kind of like going over the top of the tape like that. So that kind of goes over it. And if you need to, you might have to sharpen your pencil. Like you want to have a nice sharp tip, and then you do this. You don't want a blunt tip. And sometimes I'm in a rush, I'm using a blunt tip, and I'm saying, don't do what I do. Well, then I shouldn't do it either. This has to be a little darker, doesn't it? So I'm gonna reinforce this value like this, and then watch this. I'm gonna flip this. Well, I'm gonna try not to flip it. I'm gonna go like this and do like hatching and cross hatching while you look. And you know, like you could be really savvy about it. Like watch this. I'm gonna take this here. I'm gonna go up against it like that, and then watch what I do. I'm gonna bump this up against it like that. Notice I'm using something that's hard. I'm not using a piece of paper or even tape. See the difference there? And then I can go like this. Watch this. I'm gonna go like this and bump this up against like that. I'm gonna go like that. See that? There you go. So you see how we're doing this. So I'm going to go to black now, and I'll play back the video, and I'll tell you what I use for when. Like right now, we'll just say this. Okay. I'm gonna say, let's do this. You might not see what the heck I'm doing. I'll explain it in a minute. You'll see what I'm doing in a minute. Just kind of banging this out. I've been doing this all day, so I'm kind of getting sloppy. I don't want to get sloppy on you guys. Okay. Okay, like that. I also made it available to you what I used. So the far right, I used a 6B, and the far left, I use an H. You could use a 2H instead of an H if you want to. And so I used what I had. So the first 3 or 4 was H, and then the second from that, which is where I got to the 5 area, is an HB, and then I went to a 2B, and another 2B, then I went to a 4B. When I'm in the 80%, I used a 4B, and I had a 5B for the 90%, and a 6B I used for the 10 or 100%. I used a 6B. You could even use for the 90% a 4B. Just press a little harder. And so this is the graphite value scale. Now, I mean, like when you remove this, look how nice it looks. See that? Nice and clean. See that? But we're going to keep this here for a purpose. Like that. So now here, we're to the wides. Let's say you're going to do more work here, but you don't want to mess this up. Sure, you can use your cane. But you could also like cover this with something. And then so I'm going to do that just for the sake of argument. I'm supposed to be teaching you stuff, man. So I'm going to show you that. So what I did was I decided just to get some scrap paper and just cover the area that I don't want to ruin. And there's like a funny story behind this thing. I went to this car wash and I go there and I get my car washed, and the tunnel destroyed, or not destroyed, but it took apart. It knocked out the rear view mirror on the passenger side. So they did a report, they wrote it up, and then I got a call or something a week later, and they said, well, we're not going to do anything for you because your car is like an old Toyota Camry, and it's pretty old. So they said, we'll give you a lot of service for free. And I think it's like a one-day thing where they give me a one-day service for free. So it's just kind of funny. So anyways, that's what that's all about. Okay, so like we did something with graphite. So like now we could play around with this whole thing. And so I'm just going to do something like this. And I'm going to keep the value scale small. It did say like 2 inch by 1 inch. So we could do that if you want to argue and say, well, what did your assignment sheet say this for? I go, well, we'll just do it, you know, based on my assignment sheet. So if I go like this, you know, go like this. Now, okay, like, oh, look at that. It's a little bit short. Just, I really think that as you get into drawing seriously, especially with charcoal, you really want to get into this whole like masking thing, like this whole thing with the tape. It's just so cool, like that. So now I'm going to try charcoal. Well, before you get to work, make sure you're ready to go to work. Like, so I have my pencils ready to go. You see that? I sharpened them with the utility blade, and I got it to the point with this pad, this sandpaper pad. All right. And check this out. How about if I put this over here? See that? Use that as a protector, so I don't just color all over the place. So you can do that. You see that? Now you're getting a hang of it, right? These little tricks that I'm showing you. And with the charcoal, it's a little bit more messy than a graphite, and I like my whole arm. My whole arm is activated here. I'm not just using my wrist, like I'm writing my name. I'm using the whole arm. And we talk about that a lot this whole semester, is using your arm to draw, not just your hand like you're writing your name. So you got something like that. And it's good to cover the graphite. The graphite value scale is going to be considerably different from the charcoal value scale. The graphite charcoal scale, I'm not going to edit that, it's just too much work. The charcoal value scale is going to be different from the the graphite value scale is going to be a lot different from the charcoal value scale. So I'm covering that. I don't want to pay attention to that. I just want to focus on what's at hand. Again, like, you know, I get these really weird angles and I slip of the tongue. Hopefully no Freudian slips per se, you know, just when I say something and it's not right, I'll just correct myself right on the set, you know. I'll tell you what to do and what not to do. So that's my 10%. You can even compare it off of this. See that? It's pretty much like it. See that? And let's do this. Let's do the 20%. And I'm going to try to angle, like diagonal, just for the sake of argument. I just feel like it. And yeah, I can really tell the fidelity of this charcoal. It says you're not going to get darker than this unless you have to press really hard. You don't want to press too hard, gang. You have to just get another pencil. But it feels pretty good the way this is right now. See that? And it is dark enough. It's probably too dark. And we'll figure that out when we come to it. And let's see what we can do here. Oh, so I can't do that, but I can do this. I can't do that either. Hold on one second. Okay. I zoomed in carefully, and I just had to put it upright, and then so I just go like this now with my pencil like that. See how I'm blocking the bottom of it so I don't go all over the place. I decided to do a diagonal cross hatching. I don't know why, I just felt like it. And you got to finagle this and make it work. You know, just come in here and just clean it up. You know, you got. Okay, with the next one, and this is an HB and an HB. I'm going to try this with an HB and see what we can get. Again, I hope that my back is not in your way. I'll kind of move out of the way. You see that? And I'm just going to go up and down like this. I think it's easier than the whole crosshatch thing. I mean, you can do crosshatch. I mean, I can say some professors make you do all sorts of wonky things with the value scale, but I just want you to do the gradient. However you can get the gradient. And I recommend do the value scale with graphite and then charcoal. Those are your minimal things that you should try for my class. And like, you can't press too hard. I might try something like this though. Like this, line it up like that. I'm gonna go like this. Horizontal strokes. It looks kind of messed up. Doesn't look that good, does it? Well, you know, that's part of the experience of this. You know, you gotta make it work. And I'll make it work. We'll make it work. I think we're done with, and sometimes you can cross right over. You see how I did that? I went right over the border. See that? You can do that. Just make sure you know what you're doing. So that's kind of whacked out. I'm going to see what you can do here with the Quaker Fixer Upper. And I'll show you this. I'm not going to cut this. I don't want to make my videos too darn short where you see all the finished product. There, do it like that. I'm Harry Houdini. I'm David Copperfield. Figure it out. I'm David Blaine. Figure it out. So we'll let it run and let the camera run. You can see me fix this in real time. So like, you know, and you already see a pattern of what I'm showing you is when we're doing the other part of this assignment, making the marks. I was saying you just come over here, you just kind of peck at it like that. You know, you can use the eraser to peck at it. You don't have to just always go like that to erase. You can skate by, you can do this. And, you know, that kind of a business. You'll find that it's almost difficult, if not impossible, to get like even fields of shade. Like if you have to shade something and it has to be like a machine perfect, where it's just a whole area. Like imagine shading a whole area like this, a 40% value, and it has to be perfect. That's almost impossible to do. If I was a real, you know, art Nazi, I'd make you do that. Everyone has to do that. Boy, you'd hate me. Drawing the primitives is good enough. Having to draw a cube, a sphere, a cone, and all that's good enough to train your hand to control the materials. So that's about as far as I go with that. Now, if you want to get into like the more intermediate drawing, I actually have people draw more complicated geometric forms, like the and I don't know all the names of them. You have like the dodecahedron and stuff like that, and you have all the other ones like that, and they're pretty cool, and it's fun to try to draw those too. You'd have to get a picture and just figure out how to make it, and you just draw away. I had some intermediate students do that, and you can find that stuff on the internet. Cool pictures of those kinds of 3D objects. So we're getting it. You know, we have the white, and then the 10%, 20%, and 30%. Now we got to get into, from the HB, get into the 2B. Again, I'm really getting into this whole thing like that. And I hope I'm not in the way. I'm going to go like this, up and down. Holding that pencil like this, like a drumstick maybe, or you're a conductor for an orchestra, holding it like that. And we talked about the chopsticks and all that. Like be nimble with your materials, your pencils. Like be able to do that, and you know it really helps you with this. You know this kind of thing, so you're not dropping it all the time. Like that. Looks a little bit, you know, under the weather. I gotta give it more attention here. Maybe if I go like this. You gotta be patient, gang. If you're trying to get this done, you know, and it's due tomorrow, you know, I know it's welcome to college, you know, that's the college life, but try to, you know, try not to do that. See how I'm doing this? I'm really making it work. Now I'm just coming in here and hatching this in. I really have to concentrate and see what the heck I'm trying to do. It's not easy. I mean, it's kind of messy actually. I'm trying to make it better. We'll get it to look good when we're all done. And just to show you the tricks, you know, I'm taking the HB and I'm going to come over here and do this. Fill in some of those little pock marks, little holes. And I even want to smooth this out even more like that. Not too much darker. I might be overdoing it with that value. I think that that's actually kind of too dark, you know. So I'm gonna like, this might be a little bit too light. And that's too dark. So what do we do about that? Well, so far we know that this thing will help. So I'm going to go like that and then go like that. See that? I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry again. I'm kind of getting tired. Maybe that's why I'm messing up. But we'll get it. We'll get it going. See that? Voila, pretty much fixed it. Let me even it up just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm at the, let's see, the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 50%, 60%. Now what I did was I hit it with, like this area here, you can see it's with the charcoal pencil, the 2B. But then I recommend you start playing with your blenders at this point. Like come over here, and I'm trying to use my tortillon. Notice I didn't really press too hard. You can see a lot of white area behind the charcoal marks. But then when I come over here with my tortillon, look how dark it gets to be. It's kind of crazy. So you might want to play around with that. And it's kind of, I have to clean this up over here. It's really messy. But like you go with up and down or vertical and then go horizontal like this. You know, you could have your ruler over here like this and kind of go like this. I don't know if my shoulder is in the way there. Hopefully I'm not in the way. Let's try this way. Half the time I get it too dark and I have to lighten it again. It's been a real drag tonight. I've been really finding myself having to turn off the camera and fix it. I tell you no lies. I have no alibis. And it's too dark. That's just way too dark, you know. It's kind of a drag. This I think is just right. It's just not even enough. See, it's kind of messed up over there. But like, I'll have to show you a little bit in real time. Like, you might want to try this with your eraser. Like, if you don't want to do the pecking, avoid streaks. So you get like a curve like that. It's kind of like a round curve, like that. See how that is? And then kind of go like this. It's almost like a brush. And you see how I just gently brush over it like that? And it kind of works. It kind of lightens it up a little bit. And you're going to find, you know, that you're gonna have a struggle. You know, you have to go back and you gotta tell it who's boss. You know, make it work. So that's where we are. That's where we are at right now. Let me clean it up for a little bit here. So I hit this area here with the 2B pencil, and look what happens with this tortillon. It just gets so dark. And it makes sense. I mean, again, you know, this is where you should smudge, you know, controlled smudging. Smudging with a purpose. So not just randomly all over the smudging. Like the pencil, I'm holding it to the side. And I'm coming over here like that. There we go. And I didn't press super hard on this, ever. So that's where we're at right now. So we're at 0, and then 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60%, 70%, and then 80, 90, 100. So I think I can go with, you know, here's other ways you can do this. Like, check this out. Maybe you can kind of like do a section like the bottom left like this. Go like this. See that? And then make it even darker here. And then I'm going to get my 4B. I know I might have a 6B. Let's see. Nah. 4B. And then over here the 4B, like that. So you see that I made little squares in the bottom left. I could have done that all the way like that. You know, I could, you know, there's so many different ways to teach, you know, and to do these things. You know, so let me adjust this real time. So word of the wise, try that. Like, so when you have a whole strip of 10 little squares, bottom left, put the sample that you want it to be. And then I mean, that do like that from now on, you know. I just improved my own method for you guys. So now I can just come over here like this. See that, like that. So I'm going to, with a 2B pencil, I'm going to make that darker. I try not to leave you out of the loop. Let me just... So two things I did when I came down here vertically, I went down like that, downstrokes with the 2B pencil. And then I'll admit, I used my pinky and I blended it with my pinky. It's a different feel than if I use a tortillon. Once in a while, you're going to use your hand, you know. I mean, I try not to have people do it. But if I do, I'm going to just let you know that I did it. And I think that this is also a 2B here. So, like, I went like this as well. And I also did this. See that? Can you see that? Here. Like this. And make no mistake, when I hit that with the tortillon, it's going to get all dark. So I'm going to finish up this right now. You can just watch me. I'll go like this and hit it like this. I kind of want to really hurry, but you don't want to hurry. You start messing up. Like, you can't go like that, because then this goes like that. You always got to go on the like, you go like this, you go like this, you go like that. But you do it really fast, like that. Okay, so we have something like that. It's not even even. Let's see, I can finagle that. And let's see about the blender. The tortillon. Okay, I think that this has to be darker and that has to be a little bit darker, but let's just work on this. This is the 90% value. And look what happens with that tortillon. So I'd be a real scumbucket if I didn't show you how to do this with the tortillon right. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you the tricks. There we go. Nice and even. Look at that. Nice swatch over there. Now I guess I should come over here with this. I gotta catch this up. It's a little bit too light. So you see how that is? Look how nice that comes out. You see that? It's pretty cool. It's not easy to do these value scales. I think that in a sense it's too light here and it's too dark there. Like I have to pull this out a little bit like that. And so that's the thing, you have the instructor telling you right now that, hey, maybe you can do better than the teacher. What can you do, And I've seen some stuff like students are like, wow, that's a better value scale than mine. Hey, go for it. And there's other ways to do this. Like you could have a border tape between each one of these squares and have like a square, white space, a square, white space, a square, white space, a square, white space, a square. But that's a little bit easier. It's too easy. It looks nice, but this kind of shows you the value scale right up next to each other. And if you look up value scales, and you see it in books, they very seldom have separate squares. Although I've had students do that for a while because it's easier with the tape. But with us, this term, we're doing it this way. So try to oblige me. Do it this way. See what you can come up with. Sometimes you can blend circular motion like this. I'm doing a little circular motion now. And the rest is just like teasing, And so now I'm going to hit this one here with a darker pencil, preferably a 5B, and then we're done. And then I'll show you how it looks when it's all done. Oh look, I found a 6B in here. Let's do that. Let's do a 6B. 6B, ta-da! So check it out. It's like that little square there. And it's supposed to be like as black as I can get it. So what I'm going to do is this. So I'm going to go like that, and then I'm going to go like this with the paper. You'll see it in real time. I better make sure the camera's on. Yep, the camera is on. We are rolling. So I'm going to go like this, up against here like that. You see, it's cool to have like a grid here because I can line up this paper with that line here, knowing that that's for this right there, because I can't see anything here. So I mean, that's why it's good to get this paper and do 1-inch squares, and then you can just go from there. Highly recommended technique. There's also that thing with the Renaissance artists where they'll have like you make a 1-inch squares or 2-inch squares like this, and you use some kind of a ink or whatever so you can't erase it, and then you get charcoal, you draw all over it, and then you make the same squares but like 1-foot squares. You make a big old mural. You see how that works? That's what the Renaissance artists did. So all these things are so cool. Like we take it for granted because we have all this technology. But I like the old school. I like being able to know. I like to know what was done in the past and even do some of the old school stuff. I think it's fun. You get a lot out of it. You learn, especially if you want to be an art teacher. If you want to be, it's great to be able to play with these things and go, oh, okay, that's how it's done. It's very fascinating. And there it is. So let me clean this up, and then I'll show you what we have in the end. I think it had some incandescent lighting when I was doing the demo, which gives you a more orange picture. So I switched out the lights, and this is a full spectrum light. and it probably looks more true to what I'm looking at. And so what I did was I took the tape away and I did some cleanup. And you know, it's kind of funny, and it's the first time I noticed this. It's almost like the black is, the graphite is just about as black as the charcoal. That doesn't always happen. It almost looks like we use the same thing, but no, this is charcoal and that's graphite. Try to ignore the fingerprints. So the idea is you could do more stuff with this. It'd be kind of cool, like ever see the work by Chuck Close? He's an artist that would make these huge grids, and he would do portraits by painting within these little squares. And that's an incentive for you to play around. You know, you can, if you play with these pixels, because if you look close enough, or if you zoom into a rastered image generated in Photoshop, you'll see, like, you know, little squares. Same kind of thing, right? So it's something to think about in your little head. So that's pretty much the lesson, and I hope you got something out of it.